Thank you for joining me for Admin Training Part 2, Managing Departments and Users. The learning outcome for this particular section is to configure your account to meet your organization's needs. We'll focus in on setting up hierarchies within your account and understanding the reporting capabilities based off of the facilities and departments that you configure. In addition, we'll show you how to set up your users and give specific user-level access based on the individual. If you are an administrator, once you're logged into Prophecy, you will find the Departments and Users option underneath the settings on the top right-hand side of the screen. Within this section, we will be able to configure and manage any departments and or facility levels that you set up and create. If you do have multiple locations, such as a multi-facility health system or a multi-office staffing agency, you do have the ability to add a facility level in addition to departments. So we'll walk through a scenario where we'll go ahead and click Add Facility and set up a new facility within the account. Once you click Add New Facility, it's going to provide you with fields of information that you'll need to add in to set up that new facility. Once you fill in the information, all you have to do is add new facility, and it will create that facility for you. Notice on the left-hand side now, we can see all departments or click into a particular facility as well. Let's go ahead and set up a few additional facilities before we move on to departments. Continue to add in your facilities or locations until all of the facilities have been created. Once each of your facility levels have been created, now it's time to create the individual departments that belong within each facility. The easiest way to do this is to click on the facility in which you'd like to create a department and then select the Add New Department box. Again, you're going to have fields of information to fill in to create that new department. Once you have filled in the required fields, all you have to do is click Add New Department. And this department has been created underneath ABC Hospital. Again, if you don't select the facility first, you still have the option when you add new department to select the facility at this point as well. If you accidentally create a department and forget to include the facility, you can simply click on the department name. At the top, select Edit, and you have the option to add it to any of the facilities that you've created. Although you want to go ahead and configure all of your facilities and departments upon setup, you do always have the opportunity to come in here and edit either the facility level or at the department level at any time, as well as you have the option to add in additional departments. Once all of your departments have been set up, within the drop-down box, you'll want to enter into the Master Users list. It's easier to create new users and set up additional users within your account once all of the departments and facilities have been created. To set up a new user, all we have to do is click the Add New User option. And again, we're going to get fields of information on the left-hand side that we'll use to create this new user. You will create the user with their first name, last name, email address. The email address will become the username for your user to log in with. In addition, you can add in the phone number, as well as you'll create the password, keeping in mind that you may have given them access to edit and manage their password once they log in as well. Underneath the contact information are the billing email options. If this particular user needs to get emails when there are invoices that are sent out, or when they need to manage whether or not your assessment limit has been reached, you have the ability to checkbox and give those email options. On the right-hand side, you're going to have the ability to set what is the primary department for this user. For example, if John Smith is actually the manager for the oncology department in East Hospital, I'll simply select East Hospital and make that the primary department. The primary department is what will default for John when he's adding in test takers or running any type of reporting within the account. Next to the primary department, you have two options. You can select whether or not John Smith needs to get an email notification when assessments are completed within the oncology department at East Hospital. By checking this box, this is going to notify John every time an assessment is completed within that department, even if that assessment has been set up by a separate user. This really is subscribing John to get those notifications. Lastly, you have the option whether or not you want John to actually get an email PDF of the clinical exam results once they're completed. That would be attached to the email that he is already receiving for that area. Now we have John configured for oncology, but we may also want to give him access to additional departments and or facilities that he may be managing. For example, John may be the educator for East Hospital, and he may need access to every department within that facility. You have the ability to select the access button for each individual department, not only within East Hospital, but as well as the other locations if someone does need access. Remember, you can only set one primary department. Lastly, at the bottom left-hand side of the screen are permissions. By default, when we add in John Smith, he's going to be a standard user with the ability to log in, send assessments, pull results, and help assist with the assessment process. If for some reason John does not need to be able to send assessments or add test takers, instead he only needs to be able to pull results pages, you do have the ability to set him as read-only access, which means that he can log in and pull assessment results, but he can never set up new test takers or send assessments. So you do have that option. Lastly, if you need John to be an administrator, which means John would have the capability to manage other users and settings that you find in Admin Part 1 and Admin Part 2 trainings, then you would simply add him in as a standard user and notify our support team that we need to upgrade him to an admin access for you. Now we have John all set up, and all we need to do is provide him with that username and password. Let's walk through one additional scenario when adding a new user. We're going to set up Jane with access to Prophecy, and Jane is part of ABC Hospital, specifically primary department is general ICU. However, if Jane needs access to all departments, prior to selecting that general ICU box, we would scroll to the bottom of the page, and under permissions, we would simply select has access to all departments. This is going to default that every single department within the listing she would now have access to, and we can still put her in the appropriate primary department that she needs. If you have set up a user and they're in the wrong department, which you will see from your user listing, if they have the wrong primary department, you do have the ability to enter back into any record and simply edit any of the information, including accesses. You do have the ability to remove access to specific departments as well as roles change. Lastly, if any of your users leave the organization, you do have the ability to enter into their record and uncheck the active box. This will deactivate them from further being able to log into your Prophecy account. If you have an administrator that leaves your organization, please contact support so we can remove their access for you. Thank you for joining us for Admin Training Part 2. As always, feel free to contact us with any additional questions that you may have.